Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi. I am doing a mouse 3 ways. First off, I'm going to be doing a watercolour painting of said mouse. Then I shall be doing a needle felted mouse, and then I shall be doing one out of polymer clay. And I'll leave you to decide which one you think is the best. I already know which one's the best, in my opinion, and I've kind of fell in love with it. So stick around. It's going to be a long one. Grab a cuppa and enjoy. Thank you to my members and subscribers and likers and watchers and commenters. You're all fantastic. So yeah, I'm starting with my doodle. I have no image that I'm looking at. This is just straight out of my head, which is why I'm using a rubber, because I keep making mistakes. I like to have a pencil drawing to see what I'm doing, and at the minute I'm drawing a little tea bag. As you will probably be aware, I did do a story about alien veg and the mouse rescue. Well, the mouse rescued them, and I told the story. So later on in this video, I shall be telling you the story in the mouse's point of view. And I hope you like it. It's a bit different to what I normally do. I mean, I just normally do the story and that's it, but I thought it'd be a nice idea to see what the mouse thought. Anyway, as I am drawing this, I'm thinking there's something not quite right with this mouse, and I think it's the nose. I think I made the nose more rabbit-like. So yeah, I don't know. I'm doing a dark line now to make it more visible for me to paint, and these are waterproof markers. I can't remember what they're called. I'll put them in the description. That way, if you're gonna paint over the top, they won't bleed everywhere, and that is awesome for me, because, well, I like pens. I love pens. I'm a bit of a collector of pens. I have got a lot of pens, and I really should use them. I've got gel pens. I haven't used them in years. I don't even know if they're any good. I think I'm going to have a look through them, see what I can do with gel pens, if any of them work. And if they don't, I'll just use them to make something else. So I'm putting water down to get my background, and this is so it doesn't smoosh into the actual mouse. And I can change the tones of the blues depending on whereabouts it is on the actual page. I've taped my picture down so that it doesn't keep curling up. This is proper watercolour paper. I think it's Winsor & Newton. You would not believe the bargain I got. I went into a charity shop. Oh, now is it Age UK? There was about 5 little notebooks, all watercolour, 25p each. 1 page used out of just 1 book. And I'm like, yeah, you're mine. You're coming in with me. So, yeah, decent paper, 25p a pack. I mean, a book. Can't grumble at that. I do like a bargain. You saw me put the baby wipe, well, floor wipe on it. And that was just to soak up the water really quick, because I didn't want it to swirl around on the page, and it was just how I wanted it. So it looks like a blue wallpaper that's aged. That's what I've got in my head anyway. And I'm going in using several different colours of this. Oh, I want to say ochre. I don't think that's right. We'll say mustard for today. and some yellow, and I think really I should have used a bit more brown. I don't know. Well, anyway, neither one of the mice is going to be this colour, because I painted the mouse, then promptly lost where I'd put it. I have moved my stuff again. So yeah, I'm doing them out of my head. Each one is just out of my head. So I'm just putting little bits of shade in, and the tea bag, I wanted it to look a little bit like it had been used and then dried out. Now, I really could have just used a stained tea bag to stain it with, but I'd already got my paints out, so I was doing that anyway. I do add just a touch of pink to the ears and a teeny tiny bit to the nose, but you can't really tell. Now, the eye, I think I'm missing a dot of white. I think I should put another bit of white in, because I do fill the whole eye in. And the whiskers I'm going to paint in rather than using a pen, because I want them to look a bit more wispy. This is the floor, and I'm putting a bit of shadow in of where the tail would land or the bum would sit on the floor. And this is to show that I've tied a piece of string to the tea bag. I really enjoyed making this. It was therapeutic. It didn't take long at all. I mean, yes, it could do in more detail. It really could. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was basically just to give me an idea of what I was thinking of for my little cloche. Because in the story, the mouse is stood against the cloche looking in, and although each piece could be left separate, you can put them together. So you'll see in the photos at the end that I do it with the cloche, without the cloche, I put the mice together. So yeah, it's really quite cute. I'll be honest, the felted one is not my favourite, but I see progress. The last creature I made was a felt frog for Froggy Friday, and although it was cute, it wasn't great. This time I've actually got it sitting up. It's got form, it looks like a mouse. It's almost there, but there are reasons why it's not there anyway, because I'll tell you that later when it comes up, because I really should have thought about what I was doing, but I didn't. Oopsie. So, on to the felted mouse. As you can see, do you know those magic sponges that's supposed to take pencil off your walls? Well, I bought a pack a while ago, and I was busy looking through my cleaning cupboard and thought, I've never actually used these. So I decided to use it for the body of my mouse. I kind of Raggedy Ann cut it into some sort of weird shape that represented a mouse, kind of. And this is where there's issues, because I should not have started with the colour first. I should have used maybe a colour I'm not keen on as the padding, as to build it up. Because the reason my mouse does not look very mousy is because he's a bit of a patchwork quilt. He is pink, brown, white. He's not finished. So you are going to be a little bit disappointed because he's not finished. I ran out of the colours I needed. So I kind of I've made him so that when I get some more wool, I can finish him off and actually make him look more mousy. So although he has got eyes and a nose and a mouth on, they are coming off. They are just for this video today because I'd done all that work and then I realised that, oh, this little tiny bit of wool is not going to get me anywhere. I am not going to get this finished. So he's half, no, I wasn't going to say half finished. I'd say 3/4 finished. He wants titivating. Yeah, he wants some colour putting in that's right colour. He needs finishing off. Yeah. I'm using wire to make him have legs that will make him stand up. And I kept thinking, is this going to work? I've got to get a tail on this. Is he going to stand? So, I am not looking at anything. I've not watched videos to do this. I am doing this all out of my head and hoping and praying for the best. So, would you believe I only stabbed myself 4 times? Yeah, 4 times. That's all. Go me. I mean, it's very close to my hands, my fingers. It's a very big shock that I didn't stab myself a lot more times. When I did the frog, crikey, I had any skin left on my fingers by the time I'd done. And I'm one of the... See, I just stabbed myself there. I'm one of those that I have to do everything in my hands. Because if I'd have used a sponge, I wouldn't have been able to see or feel where I was going. I know that makes no sense whatsoever. But now I've just cut out a snippet of the foam. Not cut out, but cut a little snippet inside the foam so I can shove the mouse's tail in. Now, hindsight, I possibly could have glued that in, but I didn't. So I'm using the wool as an anchor. Yes, I did say anchor. So it did actually work. I was really surprised. In fact, I was more than really surprised. I was very, very surprised. And by the time I've wrapped around the tail, it's quite firm. And I there he is. I've zoomed right up to where he's almost done. Now, my husband kept saying he looked like a badger. So I kept tweaking his face a bit more. I still think it needs more tweaking. I think he still needs to be a bit more pointy, but look at that. Oh my God, he stands. And this is how much brown I've got left. Not enough. Not enough at all to cover that whole mouse. So, he is going to stay a patchwork quilt. And I'm going to just put some black eyes in. First one were absolutely dire. Oh God, it were awful. It were massive. I mean, look at the size of this thing. They used far too much wool. Far too much. And I looked at it and thought, you've got to go. You've got to go, mate. So yeah, I pulled it off and took it apart and halved it. In fact, I don't even think I halved it. I think I took a quarter of it away from it to make the eye. And I still think they're a bit big. But like I said, I'm going to take the eyes off and tweak them. Make them look a bit more mousy. And I don't want to use black for the nose when I get some colours, because I think it just stands out too much. He's a cute mouse. He don't want to be looking all scary and garish. So, yeah, like I said, the face and the mouth is going to go. But look, he actually has a body. He looks somewhat mousy. He stands. He's got a tail. He just needs a little bit of fussing over and he'll be absolutely beautiful. Well, I think so anyway, compared to my frog. I'll link my frog and then you can decide for yourself what you think. Because the frog was my first ever creature. and this is my second, and I think this is leaps and bounds in front of the frog, definitely. I just think it's much better. So the more practice, I think I'll get it sorted. Now, this white, I just put little tiny dots just to make lifelines. I even considered painting the whole thing after it had done. And then I thought, well, that's kind of defeating the object, because you want it fluffy. Paint it, it's going to go dry and crispy. So yes, I'm just going to wait until I can get some wool and then finish him off. But I'm a bit chuffed with him. I really am. Now what am I doing with that bit? Oh, yeah, I'm doing his bag, his tea bag. I don't do it on the polymer clay one because I think it would actually be nice to have an actual tea bag. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I make a tea bag for the polymer clay one? Or leave him as it is? I also considered putting him a scarf around his neck, or maybe putting a hat on his head, or even a bow tie. He is quite adorable. So, yeah, let me know. Shall I add anything to the mouse that has been polymer clayed? Wait till you see it, then you might know yourself what you think. Even my son was like, "Man, that's really good. It looks like you've carved it." And I'm like, oh, do you know what? He's right. It does look like I've carved it out some wood. I adore him. And it's making me want to do more. He reminds me of the Gruffalo characters, the way I've made him. I mean, like I said, I wasn't actually looking at the picture that I'd drawn or anything that I was doing. But yeah, I do think he looks a bit like that kind of character. And the tail on the felted one is movable. Yeah. So now it's down to polymer clay. And foil is your friend. Foil makes sure you don't waste too much. So, I don't know what happened there, but that kind of looked like it jumped, which is weird. I used the foil to make a head, to make a body, and then I'll glue it together with my favourite super glue in the world, green stuff. But I need to make it a bit more firmer, yes. And I stick some... No, they're not chopsticks. Oh God, I've not said that in ages. Chopsticks, blummy nectar. Toothpicks, that's the one. Good grief. Oh yeah, I stuffed some toothpicks in to make him a bit more solid. And me being me, don't waste a thing. I just put all that foil inside itself and then wrapped it up a bit more. And I'm also going to be using the last bit of the soft clay I've got. I don't want to make him too heavy, and if I put on 2 layers of polymer clay, that's going to make him really heavy. So what I'll do is I'll make the basic shape out of the soft clay, oven clay. I mean, it's like nougat. Yeah, that's how it is. That's what I've been trying to explain in my own head. It is very much like nougat. That's that chewy stuff. It's very nice stuff. We can chew on it for hours. That's how it tears apart. So, it also gets quite mushy once you've got it too warm. So you have to be really careful how you touch it. I mean, I'm being super gentle, or at least trying to be super gentle. And you will see me put on feet, hands, tail. Well, I'm going to let you into a secret right now. I cut all that off because I just didn't like it. I mean, I know this was the base of the mouse, but it just didn't look right. And I'd got the arms facing the wrong way, and yeah, like I said, this was just me going for it. In fact, I do find this so relaxing. It's a clear your brain kind of thing, because I will be telling you the story soon. And that's his tail. Yeah, don't last. It comes off. Yeah. I mean, this was going to be how tall he was going to be as well, and that changes because he ends up getting quite tall. In fact, he's taller than my felt mouse. So, should he really be with this cloche? I don't know. But then he has to be big enough to be able to carry the vegetables. Although looking at the crack in that now, I'm thinking, just how did they get out there? But anyway, I am now going around filling in the spaces and putting more detail in, and I need to put a nice thin layer of the polymer clay on because I need to be able to put some texture on his fur. And because the other clay that's inside is baked, you can't put the texture in unless you're using something like a scrapey tool or whatever. It's not a scrapey tool. You know what I mean. I'm sure somebody knows what I mean. File or something. And I'm using every trick in the book with these tools because you don't really need expensive tools when you're playing with polymer clay. Usually it's just your hands or anything you can find that's on your desk. Even then you can find things that you can just think, oh, that's got a pattern on it, I'll use that. So I'm filling out his cheeks, making him a bit more full, because he's a bit pointy at the minute, too pointy. But I don't want him to lose too much of the point. So that's why I widened his cheeks a little bit. So there's his head, and I've broken off his arms and I have turned them round and glued them back on. And this, I didn't take the tail off yet. I still haven't taken the tail off. But that's coming. It really is coming. And luckily, because the clay underneath is that really soft stuff, once it's baked, it's still quite easy to but shape. There we go. So you can cut it off and file it to where you need it to be. And I'm still faffing about trying to get this to go around the arms, and a lot of this I will cut out because you don't need to see me just, well, relaxing, because that's really what I'm doing. Oh, and can you see that white thing on my desk in the corner? That's William the Worm. 3D printed it. I have so got to paint that. I know it's not for anything or a video or anything, it is for me. I've took the tail off, I've took his feet off, and now I'm doing the rest of his body. Now, Mousy is a house mouse, so he gets to have all the treats. Cake crumbs, cereal crumbs. So he's a bit of a portly little devil. So yeah, my mouse is a fatty. He's a well-fed mouse. I mean, he lives in the walls, so he can go and eat when he wants. Which, by the look of him, he really does. So, and I can't fault him. Eat cake, eat cereal, get some crisps, do what you like. You're a long time dead, stuff it. So, I had to build up his feet, and I did look at it thinking, might be a bit too tall now. I don't know. And I am going to have to faff with the join from his belly to his legs, because as you can see, there are shapes for his like hips, so I do have to round it off a little bit so he does get even fatter. But it's cute. He doesn't have a bum though. I think this is the only creature I've not done a bum for. I think I even put a bum on the vegetables, or at least one of them. But yeah, this one's just got tail. For some reason that just did not want to stick, and maybe it's because I'm impatient. That's probably it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you with a story for a bit. It's only about 6 minutes long, and it's this point of view of the mouse. Mouse had watched them for days. From beneath the broken trowel and the frayed edge of a picnic blanket, he'd seen the beings inside the close try everything. Pebbles, twigs, even a shard of cracked crystal. The objects lay scattered like the remnants of a quiet rebellion, but the glass held firm, humming faintly with something not quite natural. They weren't vegetables, not really, not the kind the humans chopped or boiled. These were something else. One was round, smooth as riverstone, with a faint internal glow that pulsed like breath. Another shimmered copper, its surface etched with shifting patterns that rearranged when it was watched too long. The third had fronds, delicate, fern-like appendages that curled and unfurled with a motion Mouse couldn't name. He'd felt it then, that ache in his chest, the kind that made him rearrange his treasures at night and stare at the sunflower seed he hadn't eaten. So when the crack appeared, just a sliver, just enough, Mouse didn't hesitate. He had prepared. A used tea bag, emptied and dried, stitched with thread pulled from the human's laundry basket. He wore it round his neck like a satchel, not for crumbs, not for buttons, but for them. One by one he helped them climb out. The round one nestled perfectly into the pouch's curve. The copper one shimmered as it slid inside, leaving a faint warmth. The fronded one clung gently to the edge, its tendrils brushing Mouse's fur in silent thanks. But before he left, he looked inside the cloche. The air shimmered with mushroom spores, drifting like breath. Crystals jutted from the mossy floor, some clear, some tinged with violet, and in the centre loomed a mushroom, vast, still, and watching. Its cap stretched wide, casting a shadow that made Mouse's fur prickle. It didn't move. It didn't need to. Mouse placed the sunflower seed on the moss. A gesture, a gift. The spores swirled. The mushroom pulsed once, ominous, slow, and then stifled, and stilled. The cloche shimmered. The opening widened. Mouse didn't wait. Through the loose brick down the hallway into the walnut shell, where the world was small and safe, and smelled faintly of lavender. That night he released them into the hedgerow. The spores clung to their skins. The crystals glowed faintly. They didn't speak, but they bowed. And when Mouse returned home, he found a new treasure beside his button. A tiny mushroom cap, folded like a shield. It shimmered faintly and smelled of secrets. The Mouse and the Cloche, the garden between worlds. Mouse ran. The tea-bag pouch swayed against his chest, stitched tight and lined with thistledown inside. The three beings nestled close, the round one pulsing softly, the copper one warm and silent, the fronded one curling its tendrils around the pouch's edge like it's understood. The hallway was long. The radiator clicked, the floorboard creaked. Mouse paused between the umbrella stand, heart thudding. He knew the humans would wake soon. He had to reach the garden, not the front one, not the one with the trimmed hedges and gravel paths, the back garden, the wild one, the one the humans forgot. He slipped through the loose brick in the conservatory wall, tail flicking behind him. The air changed, cooler, damper, filled with a scent of moss and old leaves. The garden stretched out like a secret. Ferns bowed low, mushrooms clustered in quiet corners. Crystals jutted from the soil here too, faintly humming. It felt like home. Not his walnut shell home, but theirs. Mouse crept to the hollow beneath the elder tree, where the bark curled like the old parchment, and the moss grew thick. He opened the pouch gently. The round one rolled out first, nestling into the moss with a soft glow. The copper one followed, its surface shifting in patterns that matched the garden's rhythm. The fronded one lingered, tendrils brushing Mouse's paw before unfurling into the soil like roots. They didn't speak, but Mouse felt it, a quiet thank you, like warmth in winter fur. He stayed a while, watching. The garden accepted them. The spores drifted. The crystals pulsed. The elder tree croaked softly as if remembering. Mouse knew they couldn't stay there forever. They belonged somewhere else. Somewhere far, perhaps, or deep beneath the soil. But for now they were safe, and the garden would keep them. He turned and padded back through the brick down the hallway and into his walnut shell, where the world was small and safe and smelled faintly of lavender. That night, he found a new treasure beside his button, a curled frond still damp with moss. It shimmered faintly and smelled of home. As you can see now, Mouse is complete. Well, as in he's made, he isn't finished painting. I just used my air gun and I don't know what I do with that thing. I make a mess of it every time. Now this is where my desk is on the other side of the room. It's now in a different place completely. Now I put a black base down because when I scored with the fancy tool thing, I say fancy tool, it's a piece of metal with metal sticks in it. You can easily make that yourself. Mine just came with a craft kit. And what it does is it leaves the indentation of the scoring, so then you will see the black come through and it makes it look like fur. And I'm going in with the lighter colour first, and I want to say ochre again, and I don't think it is. Oh dear. So we'll go with mustard. We're sticking with mustard. And I will go in with lots of different tones of brown and mustardy colours and white and a little bit of pink. And most of it is dry brushing, because the first coat was the important coat, which is the black. One, that gives you a base coat to paint on. Two, it gives you the detail of the fur. And three, it just looks brilliant. So I'm going in, like I said, with different tones of brown, and I need to be able to highlight some of his bumpy bits. You know, his love handles and his little belly. make it look like the lights hit him, I suppose. And I had to do it, but I carved a little heart into his bum. Because it just screamed tattoo me. I don't know why a mouse would want a tattoo, but he needed a tattoo, so I gave him one. I'm sort of painting him, and he is kind of looking badgery like at the minute. That's because I'm trying to put in the lights, the lighter coloured in first, so then I can go over the top and just merge them in. With it being acrylic, it doesn't dry too fast, but just enough so it's not everywhere. And I'm just chuffed that he stands up on his own. So yeah, I've glazed his eyes, and his ears are pink, and his little nose, but now I need to put him some whiskers in. Now I have got some floristry wire, and I think it was £1 a pack. I think it was the range, and these are just jet black. Now my first thought was to just glue them straight on, but that would not make them very stable. So I didn't. I did try it, but it just didn't work. So I'm cutting them at 3 different levels, because the mouse's whiskers in the picture are all different sizes and things, but if you look at a cat or if you look at a mouse, the whiskers are, excuse me, dry mouth, the whiskers are different levels. And I cut this wire, and I think it's this one. Is it this one? I don't know. I can't remember which one I cut, but it just goes pew, and off the screen. I'm like, oh hell, where did that go? Luckily, my pencils and pens stopped it. It might be this one actually. Yeah, there it goes. Whee! What the heck? That's because I weren't holding it properly. But I found it. It weren't too far away. And I needed 6, so I've got 3 for each side. And that wooden slice, I've got quite a few of them from when I used to do Christmas tree decorations. I used to paint like Scooby-Doo and all the ghosty stuff, and Harry Potter stuff. They sold like hotcakes. Only problem is I couldn't do many because they were so detailed. It was quicker actually to make this mouse than it was to paint a blooming disc. Because I used to I'd draw them, paint them, and then I'd put a 3D stuff on top before I started using UV. And it was just like, it took forever. And obviously I undersold myself and didn't really make much money out of them, but people showed me pictures of them on the trees, and it's like, they do it every year. It's great. I love seeing them on people's trees. I mean, one person I worked with, she's got horror seasons. She's got the horror slices. She's got Scooby-Doo slices. She's got quite a few, just what she's got from me. And she shows me every year. And I'm right chuffed. It's what makes me happy, seeing people happy with what I've done. And it doesn't cost much to make those. But to know that they keep coming out every year, putting them on a tree every year, it's just like, oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, this mouse has just been drilled because the glue is not stable enough. But put the glue on the end of the stick, shove it in the hole, voila. Whoa, sorry, I put the glue on the actual mouse. I should have put it on the stick first, that would have made more sense. But it doesn't look any different, because the glue's sort of like just made him a little bit more shiny. But he's cute. I like him. And he's quite stable, quite sturdy. I mean, I haven't done the cat test yet. I don't want to do the cat test. And we all know what the cat test means. Yeah. You know, the one where they sit on the edge of the table, look at things, look at you, and then just go, whoops, on the floor. I've got one cat that's her speciality. Well, the two don't get monkeys, but her, boy, she's a monkey. She's a right pro. Again, she's cute. Yeah, so now I've got 3 whiskers on each side. And they are a little bit sharp. So I might, I don't know, at some point, just stick a little blob of UV or something on them. Just to stop them from being too sharp. But anyway, what do you think? Which is your favourite mouse? The painted one? The felted one? Or the polymer clay one? And also, what shall I do with the polymer clay one? Should I put him a scarf on? Should I make him a teabag bag? Should I make him a hat? Or a bow tie? What do you think? Anyway, I'm going to show you the pictures at the end. And I'm going to put you a range of different poses. And a little video of them going round and round in circles. And also, I would say this is my favourite. I like the felted one. I think the felted one's going to look great. That cowboy hat, no good. No, that will not sit on his head properly. I'm thinking more beanie, if you want a hat. But he's so cute. I just love him. So, yeah, what do you reckon? Bow tie, hat, scarf, teabag bag. I don't know, but yeah, there's the felted one. Yeah, it looks quite scary with them eyes, and they're not quite in the right place. That's all of them finished. Well, 2 finished, 1 half finished. I need to get some more wool, remember. And when I do get some more wool, I'll put it up in my what do you call it, posts, so you can see it actually finished. But yeah, I've enjoyed making this. I hope you've liked it too. And I hope that if you stayed this long, you're still awake. Or, if you don't sleep, you've had a nod. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying all the way through to the end. It is a huge support. Give me a like, give me a comment, and I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.